Hey there, welcome back to Manotick StringWorks. Glad to have you here. So please remember to hit that like and subscribe button for more video content. So a friend of mine dropped off his 2008 Gretsch Electromatic Hollowbody, model G5120, and he's interested in having me do a few things, especially change the tuners. But I thought I'd give you a quick look. I like these guitars, I mean, look at those control knobs. You got a Bigsby vibrato. Oh, there's a wire there under that floating bridge, which connects to this equalizer preamp control unit. That's not stock. And I like, they have their own switches, their own knobs. Nothing's generic with Gretsch. I like these fret markers too. They look good. And there's the headstock, missing the Electromatic nameplate down the middle. That's too bad. But here are the tuners he'd like me to change. So the Imperial style tuners. These ones are locking ones from Gyker. I think they look better. They certainly are better scale than the ones that are on there right now. I thought we'd just have a little closer look at this modification. So under this floating bridge is a Piezo pickup. And he's had a second output jack installed. So there's the main one with the plate, and there's the secondary one. So that's kind of cool. Unusual for sure. Alright, so I'm actually not going to be changing the strings on this guitar. I'm trying to just do a quick turnaround for him. So I'll loosen up the 6th string, the E string, and I'll just put a capo down there around the 7th to hold things in place. Especially with that Bigsby. So we'll undo a couple of screws on the back of this tuning machine. We'll pull that out. I was able to pull that ferrule out. Sometimes you need a little help. So here's the new one, the Imperial style locking tuner. So it doesn't fit in the existing hole, and I knew that would be the case. So we'll measure that. So the existing hole is about 8.5 millimeters. The shaft on this tuning key is about 9.5 millimeters. So means we need to resize the tuning peg hole for the new tuners. So we're going to use a reaming tool. That's the best tool for this because it's not going to damage the finish. It's slow and easy. You can gauge how deep you're going. And I've had a lot of success using a reaming tool. Much better than trying to go at it with a drill bit right away. So you have to do from both ends because it is a tapered bit, right, on the reaming tool. So you do one end, then you do the other, and you keep testing. See if the shaft will fit in there. And once you've got it in, now we'll use drills. And I like to start with a smaller drill bit and then work my way up to the finished diameter, which will be about 3/8. Now when you ream the hole out, the top of the hole is wider than the middle of the hole, right? Because it's a taper and the same. So when you do from the top and the bottom, basically the middle of the hole in the center is going to be narrower. So that's why you need to use the twist bit afterwards. So once you've got it sized from both sides, right, like that. And again, you go slow, steady. You might get a little bit of chip out, but that's almost unavoidable. You could use some masking tape. I didn't think I'd need any here, so. And here's just a way to finish out that hole. See, I'm just testing the width of the bit here by the shaft, not the twist part. And you can go backwards too. You can go in reverse to start and then go in forwards. That seems to work nicely too. Try out some technique on a spare piece of wood somewhere. Alright, we're getting close. So as soon as that bit goes all the way through, then we should be at the finished diameter. So you check from the top and the bottom. And there we go. So now I'm going to put the washer, and then I'm going to put the nut on. I'll just tighten that up just to hold it in place. I like to use a 10mm socket just to hand tighten it like that. Yeah, that looks good. So now it's just a case of doing 5 more. So as we go along here, I'll stop once in a while and point out something. So here I just used a punch, appropriate size punch, to just get that ferrule out that was sticking. It's easy to do it that way. You know, be gentle. Alright, so just keep moving along, ream out the holes. Do it from the top side, then from the back. I like to sneak up on it. And I'm using the 3/8 twist bit there to gauge a final diameter as well. So I want the diameter of the hole to be just a little wider than that when I'm reaming it. So when I start that twist bit in the hole, it doesn't catch on the edge. Yeah, so again, you just sort of have to keep going back and forth. Step up your drill bits. And you shouldn't really have any chip out issues. I mean, there's always the possibility that finish could crack or something, but you try and minimize that possibility as much as you can. So we'll just put all the tuners in position. Once I've got all the holes drilled out to the right diameter, and get them about where I want them. And this is something not to forget, just tighten up the tuning head screws. I did notice that a few of them were loose when I was putting them on, so yeah, they pretty much all needed to be tightened. So you don't want to, really yank them down there, but make sure they're nice and tight. So I positioned the tuning machines where I'd like them, and they're a little bit staggered, they're not straight on this design. And I'm just going to mark a hole, the screw hole on one of the tuners, because I want to see where that one screw hole is going to be, how close it's going to be to the existing screw hole that's already in the headstock. And if it's too close, I'm going to fill that existing hole. And yeah, that's a little too close. I'd rather just fill that hole, prevent any sort of blowout or the bit wanting to wander. So here I got a little messy, I gotta say, but I just put some glue, and these are toothpicks. Just put some glue in the hole. I'm just going to wipe some of it off there. And just nip the toothpick off close to the back of the headstock. And just rinse and repeat, right? Just go around into the holes. And I'm only going to plug the one hole. There's going to be an exposed hole afterwards. And my friend knows that, so that's fine. That's a lot more work and finish work and etc. So I think I'd rather just leave the hole there, so if ever you want to change the tuners back or you sell the guitar with the original tuners, someone could, just put the new ones back on pretty easily. Just use a chisel, sharp chisel, trim away. Again, be slow and gentle here. Keep the flat part of the chisel on the headstock. Now just doing a final alignment. And again, they're not straight off the headstock because it's curved, right? So they should have a little bit of a curve to them. The center one is straight out, and then the top and the bottom ones on each side would be angled in just a little bit. It's nice. It's a nice touch. It matches the shape of the headstock. So here I'm going to use a 1/16 inch drill bit for the pilot hole for the screw. And I'm actually just going to use the hole that's in the tuning machine as the drill guide. So just a bit of masking tape for a depth stop so we don't go too deep. We don't want to blow up the other side, of course. Double and triple check. Doesn't hurt. And I've screwed tighten down the nuts on these tuning machines so it doesn't move around while I'm drilling. And before I start drilling, I'm just going to use an index punch here. 3/32 fits the hole nicely, just to make a little dimple, like a little indent in the wood, so the drill bit, when I put it in, will sit in there and should start nice and straight. Alright, so now let's get to drilling. I'm going to start with one, get to the depth that I've marked off, and then I'll take one of the screws. And make sure you get the wood out of there too. Just make sure it fits. Everything seems good. Deep enough, tightens up. Yeah, that's good. Let's do the other ones. One at a time. Pay attention to your tape. And keep an eye on it. Make sure it doesn't start riding up the drill bit either, that tape. Eh? And you start to make your holes deeper and deeper. By the time you get to the last one, you've blown out the front. There we go. And here really, you got to do this by hand. They're so small, these screws. Doesn't take much time at all. Looking pretty good from the backside already. You'll see I put a little tape there to hold all the strings as well as the capo. So there, that's how they look installed. I think they look nice. Jeez, I wish we had that electromatic tag down the middle. So you can see in the back, so I've left one of the holes, the existing holes, exposed, of course. And again, you don't really see that at all. And if you do want to put the old tuners back on, you can. Alright, so we're going to string this up. So I did the other 5 strings. I'll just leave the E string here to show you. But we're going to hook the ball end under the Bigsby bar. And I use a little eraser to sort of pinch it under there. It prevents it from falling out. Now, reusing these strings, I have to straighten out the ends a bit. Get them so you loosen up the locking tuner. Get the string through the hole, and there's a little, little clamp device as you tighten the locking tuner up. So I like to pull it through, not super tight. Then make sure that you've tightened it underneath with the wheel, and then get the strings up to tension. Now, not all the way yet, because this is a floating bridge. So I want to align it on the body. Now there were marks already on the body, so I'm just going to try and match those marks and make sure that the strings, the 2 E strings, are positioned correctly over the pole pieces and the neck. So once you've positioned it and you're happy, then you tighten the strings down and that'll hold it in place. And there we go. Oh, you gotta love that sound, eh? Yeah, so I'm happy with that. I like the position of the bridge. I quickly checked the intonation and it's pretty good. And yeah, looks nice. So we'll snip these down. I'm not snipping them all the way. I'm going to leave about a ½ inch or so, just in case I need to get at these strings again, or my friend wants to change the strings. It'll be a little easier. So there it is. Looks nice. I like those tuners. Fits the scale of the guitar a little better. And who doesn't like a Gretsch Hollowbody though, right? They are quite beautiful. Alright, thanks for watching.